between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living. Join Josh, Jamie, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Elisa.
Elisa, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Lemp Mansion. Adam Lemp was born in 1798 in Germany, and he arrived in the United States in 1836 and then settled in St. Louis in 1838. So I know there was like a bunch of Germans that came over and settled there. And I've seen even other ghost hunts that have been in St. Louis done on you watch on TV or whatever, and then when they get EVPs, they're in German.
Oh, that's so
really cool.
Like, so cool. But then he also became a U.S. citizen in 1841, and he started a family grocery store and sold his own vinegar and beer. And by 1840, he put all of his focus on the manufacturing and selling of beer by creating the Western Brewery. Adam Lemp's beer became popular due to the increase of the German population, and he was one of the first in the country to produce I guess you would say it in German, Lager, but it's lager. Yeah,
it means lager, but it's in German.
But they
Liga.
say it.
Is it
Leiger?
No, Lager.
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 Yeah.
But we say it lager or something. Anyways.
Lager. Get that old drawl in there.
Yeah.
lager?
Which made a big difference from normally they were drinking the English ale and porters, right? His company grew big enough to need more storage, so they went to the St. Louis caves and used that as natural refrigeration, which I'm like, I wouldn't have thought of that, but of course they would back then.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The temperature is very consistent at all seasons.
Right.
In caves.
Yeah. Usually about 60 degrees.
Yeah, 55.
60, 65, yeah.
55 is what it is.
Nice.
And then, so the cave is actually underneath the Lemp house and the brewery.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? So,
talk about a wine cellar or beer cellar in this case. You just go from your house and down the secret staircase into your big old beer cave and I can drink some of this.
did they have a secret way down from the house into the cave?
it never said.
Oh, dang, that'd be
There's
so
cool things that they built inside the cave that we'll talk about. But,
okay, awesome.
Yeah. So Adam's son, William J. Lemp Sr., was born in Germany in 1835, and in 1861 he married his wife, Julia. So obviously he was born in Germany, but then they brought him here. And she was known as the mother of the brewery. Julia was a socialite and the glue that held the family together. They ended up having 8 children. Anna, William Jr., which they called Billy, Louis, Charles, Frederick, Hilda, Elsa, and Edwin. William worked at the brewery, but then listed in the U.S. Army. But they raised those 8 kids in a house that was designed to be like a palace, but eventually felt more like a mausoleum. Built above the caves, William and Julia built a beautiful 2-story white brick mansion in the 1860s. And it was 6,000 square feet.
Whoa.
That's huge back then.
That is
it's big now.
It's huge now.
It's huge now, but way bigger back then.
Yeah.
Right? Because back then it was 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, they're 2,000 was a big mansion. And you're that's barely a home now anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Because I tell my kids all the time, they're like, man, I wish we could live in a bigger house. I'm like, yeah, me too. But think about it. Back in the day, our house would be a mansion.
Yeah, that's true.
So this mansion has 33 rooms, a loft, a grand hall, patio, gazebo, and a coach house. But unfortunately, the home wouldn't be a place of safety and peace. The family would soon become victims of what people would later call the Lemp curse. On August 23rd, 1862, Adam Lemp passed away from a serious health complication, which meant that Billy, which would be Billy Jr., had to return to Western Brewery as the owner and operator. And 2 years later, he started building a larger brewery above the caves where they stored their goods. Because of him, it became the largest brewery outside of New York and the first beer to go nationwide because he ended up creating a refrigerated train car.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So cool.
That's ingenious in the sense. It's
Well,
like,
in a sense, he took it to the next level after his dad passed away.
well, right. The interesting thing is that before that time, we had no refrigeration in the train cars,
Yep.
which means things like oysters and other things that were actually shipped to Salt Lake City never would have been shipped here. So he's single-handedly, I mean, for his beer, of course, right? But single-handedly revolutionized the whole shipping rail industry.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Very much an entrepreneur. So, Billy Lemp Jr. was born on August 13th, 1867, and he went to St. Louis University and studied brewery, but it was William's fourth son, Frederick, that was born 6 years after Billy, who became William's golden boy. And Frederick was named after William's closest lifelong friend, Frederick Pabst. In a move that likely caused tension among the siblings, William Sr. bypassed his eldest son, Billy, to name Frederick as the heir apparent. William Sr. saw in Frederick the work ethic and the temperament necessary to run the global brewing powerhouse. I mean, if you can imagine, like, it would be super hard to own and create something that big and then have to leave it to a kid that doesn't care or that's not as good. And when you can see potential in a other kid, that would be tough.
I find it interesting that his friend was Pabst because that is also the name of another beer. So I wonder if that is actually that line.
It is.
How about having that kind of friendship with people? Yeah, we're all breweries. We're all brewers.
There was a few brewers in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
And they all used the caves as their refrigeration. But theirs just was the biggest. So while Billy Jr. was often seen as a flamboyant playboy, Frederick was considered serious and dedicated, and the true intellectual successor to the family business. But little did anybody know that Frederick's heart was going to fail when he was just 28 years old. This event tore William up. He started to emotionally fall apart. He was seen pacing his bedroom floor while talking to Frederick's spirit, hoping that he would hear him. He did this for years. His friend was the only one that could reach out to him and help him out of his depression. But no matter what Pabst did, William still became despondent and slowly declined. And on New Year's Day in 1904, less than 3 years later, his best friend, Pabst, passed away too. William couldn't handle it anymore, and on February 13th, 1904, I wonder if it was a Friday?
Could find out.
Can you imagine? Was the day that transformed the mansion from the house of industry into a house of mourning. After the back-to-back losses of his favorite son, Frederick, his best friend, Frederick Pabst, William had reached a breaking point. He appeared to be going through his usual routine, though through those around him, they noted that he had been nervous and despondent for months. At approximately 10 a.m., he sat down in the family dining room for a light breakfast. After eating, he told his house staff that he was not feeling well and intended to go upstairs to his bedroom to lie down. This wasn't entirely unusual, as he had been suffering from chronic stomach issues for years, probably from all the angst, I'm sure.
Probably like an ulcer.
Yeah. And once inside his second floor bedroom, he did something out of character. He locked the door. And at roughly 10:15 a.m., a muffled bang echoed through the upper floor of the mansion. He had grabbed his .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver, placed the barrel to his right temple, and fired a single shot. A young housemaid named Eva heard the noise and ran to the room. But she found the door bolted. His son Billy was not in the house at that exact moment, but then arrived shortly after. In a panic, Billy ran up the stairs and began kicking at the door to get to his father. And when they finally broke through, they found William dead on his bed in the second floor. This now left Billy to take over the brewing company, which was not something he was ready for. He didn't live a life to be proud of. He had been married to Lillian Handlin for 5 years at this point. She is and was nicknamed the Lavender Lady. She would only wear lavender color clothing, and even her carriage was painted lavender. They had a son, William III. But just 4 years later, in 1908, Lillian filed for divorce. It was the most scandalous trial that St. Louis had ever seen. Lillian didn't just want a divorce. She wanted the world to know exactly who Billy Lemp Jr. was behind closed doors. In 1908, you couldn't just go get a no-fault divorce. Lillian had to prove that Billy had made her life legally intolerable. Her testimony was a laundry list of Billy's personal failings. Lillian claimed Billy was a serial philanderer. Most famously, she accused him of hosting wild parties in the caves beneath the mansion, where he would bring other women while she was upstairs. She testified that Billy was a cruel and cold husband who would often go days without speaking to her, only to explode in fits of rage. She even claimed he once pointed a revolver at her. She accused him of being a frequent drunkard who embarrassed her in front of St. Louis high society, often disappearing for days on end to entertain his friends. Billy didn't take the accusations lying down. He hired a private investigator to tail Lillian, hoping to catch her in an affair to invalidate her claims. Now, my thoughts is that Billy was just a kid who probably got whatever he wanted. He was probably super spoiled, had unlimited amount of money, and didn't want to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that style of person, that kind of person.
Just sit there, party, have a good time, and not really have to do anything. And if his brother is doing all the work,
then why? Yeah, he can just go play.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Billy's lawyers argued that Lillian was a materialistic socialite who was bankrupting him with her lavender obsession. He claimed that she spent thousands of dollars, which would be millions in today's money, on custom purple gowns, lavender painted carriages, and even lavender scented tack for her horses. She claimed she was the only one who emotionally distanced and used her eccentricities. Figured it out. And made it impossible to have a normal German-American household. In a shocking turn in the early 1900s, especially when fighting a man with Billy's power, the judge ruled in Lillian's favor. She was awarded a massive cash settlement and sole custody of their son, William Lemp III. The trial painted Billy as a degenerate playboy and Lillian as a victim of the Lemp curse. It effectively ended the Lemp status as the moral leaders of the St. Louis business community, which would be huge.
Right.
Yeah.
Huge.
You got to wonder, though, too, like, if he was if the judge found him guilty, essentially, I would be willing to bet there was probably enough proof
Oh, yeah.
to him to be found guilty.
I bet they had a lot of witnesses come in and be like, oh, yeah, we had tons of parties and we did X, Y, and Z. And it was like everybody was drunk all the time. And, you know,
we were tapping into the personal kegs down there. It was a great time.
And he always had women. And, you know, I'm sure there was tons of witnesses that they could find.
Oh, yeah.
So the brewery suffered in the early 1920s when the Prohibition began. And it was shut down, and the brewery complex that covered 10 city blocks was sold at auction for $588,000, which would be worth now $10.5 million today.
Jeez.
That's still pretty low.
But just a few years earlier, in 1919, it was appraised for $7 million, which would equal to $113.5 million.
That seems more what I would expect to see the number to be.
Yeah.
Which means that thing tanked hard.
Yes. So, and I bet it wouldn't have tanked as hard if one of the other two had it still.
Right.
Yeah.
But because it was now in Billy's hands, I guarantee you he didn't care. I would be shocked if he did. But Billy had been in a deep, dark depression for months. He had recently finished overseeing the liquidation of the family assets, a process that essentially erased his father's and grandfather's life work. On December 29th, 1922, Billy reportedly had a quiet morning. He was seen by his brothers Charles, who lived in the house, and the house staff appearing morose and agitated. Around mid-morning, he had entered his office and closed the door. This was the same office where he had once hosted a city's elite and managed a global fortune. Billy picked up his .45 caliber handgun and placed the barrel of the gun against his left chest, aiming directly for his heart. And at approximately 10:45 a.m., a single shot rang out from the first floor. His brother Charles and a servant rushed to the office. They found Billy slumped in his chair behind his massive desk. He was still alive but fading fast. His brother Charles leaned over him, and Billy reportedly managed to gasp out his final words, "I'm tired of it all." And he was pronounced dead shortly after, and he was only 55 years old. So if the death of the Lemp men represented the collapse of the empire, the death of Elisa Lemp Wright represented the tragic loss of the family's heart. Elsa was the youngest daughter, and widely considered the most beautiful and charming of the siblings, and a darling of St. Louis's high society. Elsa was married to Thomas Wright, the president of a large metal company, and on the surface, they were a power couple, but behind the scenes, the marriage was failing. They had separated and reconciled multiple times. At the time of her death, they had recently reunited, but friends noted Elsa seemed extremely nervous and unhappy. At the time of her death, Elsa was officially labeled by the press as the wealthiest woman in St. Louis. She had inherited a massive portion of the Lemp fortune. On the morning of March 20th, 1920, Elsa was in her bedroom using a .25 caliber handgun, similar to her father. She shot herself while in bed. Her husband Thomas was in the house at the time. He heard the shot and rushed to her room, finding her fatally wounded. But some suspect that her death was a murder masked as a suicide. And she was only 37 years old.
Oh, jeez.
So I kind of read into this a little, and the more I read into it, the more it seems like it was a murder.
Yeah.
It seemed like a jealous husband, and she was more than what he could handle. Like, she's the one that had all the money. He obviously had money too, but from what it looked like, it sounds like it was a murder covered up as a suicide. And back then, I mean, how can you prove that?
Well, yeah, back then they didn't have like forensics and stuff like what we do now.
Well, and it's like, well, the rest of her family has been dying off by killing themselves with a gun. So
this just falls in line.
Why
with
not
that.
her?
Yeah.
Right?
Of all the deaths in the Lemp family, Charles Lemp's was the most chilling. While the others seemed to act out of sudden despair or business failure, Charles' death felt like a cold, methodical closing of the book. By 1949, he was the last Lemp living in the 33-room mansion. He had become a total recluse, living in the house with only 2 servants and his beloved Doberman Pinscher. By this time, on May 10th, 1949, the mansion was no longer a palace. It was a dark shell of its former glory. Charles had grown increasingly eccentric and paranoid, rarely leaving his room. He was in his room on the 2nd floor sometime in the morning, and Charles took a .38 caliber revolver and shot his Doberman Pinscher. This detail is often one that disturbs people the most likely wanting his dog to be there when he took his own life. He then turned the gun on himself and fired a shot to his head. When the servants found him, he was lying on his bed, and the dog was found nearby. He left a suicide note saying, "In case I'm found dead, blame it on no one but me." Charles' final instructions were perhaps the biggest shock to the Lemp legacy. He explicitly requested that his body not be taken to a funeral home, that he not be buried in a massive opulent Lemp mausoleum at Bellefontaine Cemetery with the rest of his cursed family, that he be cremated and his ashes be placed in a wicker box and buried on his farm. So very opposite of the rest of his family.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was like a falling apart or something with his family, because I feel like that's like the one thing that everybody has is family, and you want to be with your family. He was like, heck no.
But he was alone. I mean, you got to wonder at that point in time, it's just despair takes over. It's like, look, you guys have all left me. It's not like they got, scarlet fever or the Spanish flu or anything like that. They took their own lives. So I imagine he felt a lot of maybe anger and despair associated to the loss of his family. And because, and then imagine living in the very place that they killed themselves, and 2, a 33-room mansion by yourself.
Yeah.
That's a lot of empty.
That is.
Mm-hmm.
Be awful lonely.
There's only 2 workers there. So I'd be awfully quiet.
And I think that was because, I don't know how much money that he had at that point in time.
Right.
But so it's either a part of we don't have a lot of money. And then also sure, you could have a staff of 20 people, but why?
Mm-hmm.
It's just you.
Well, back then it was people like to host parties and like to entertain. And it sounded like he was not that kind of a person.
I think if almost my entire family died of suicide in my own home.
Yeah.
I don't think I could be looking at it as a place to have a party.
Mm-mm.
No. It'd be more like a prison at that point, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So there's also one more person who may or may not be a part of this curse. There's a legend of a little boy named Zeke. There is no paper evidence of his existence. And legend says that he was an illegitimately born child to Billy Jr. with what could have been Down syndrome and physically having deformities with a housemaid. So to protect the reputation of the Lemp family and the prestige of the brewery, the child was never officially acknowledged. It is said that the boy was hidden away on the 3rd floor attic for his entire life. He was reportedly given the nickname the Monkey Boy by cruel neighborhood children or disgruntled staff who caught glimpses of him through the small attic windows. The legend states that he lived into his 30s, eventually dying of natural causes within the house, never having experienced the world outside the mansion walls. The legend argues that a family as powerful as the Lemps could easily have bribed doctors and officials to keep a shameful child off the books. Wealthy families of that era often hid children with disabilities in sanitariums or back rooms to avoid the taint of bad genetics, which would have been seen as a threat to their business standing. I wonder if something like that really did happen, because it would happen back in the day. But if you were that family and you had so much money, why not put the child in a sanitarium?
I don't know.
Why not?
Because the attic works. You said back room. Well,
yeah.
Attic's the most of the back room.
But they didn't want it getting out at all, it sounds like. So why would you put him in a sanatorium?
Yeah.
Because then it would get out.
It would get out.
Now that you couldn't keep things quiet, but eventually something like that will get out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very true.
So if you keep them in the attic...
So if you hide them away within the walls, less likely.
And let's face it, those types of things happened all the time.
Which was so sad.
It's very sad.
Because they are some of the happiest people.
They are, yeah.
So whether Zeke existed in the flesh or not, something or someone certainly seems to occupy the 3rd floor today. It is widely considered the heart of the mansion's hauntings. For decades, passers-by have reported seeing a distorted or strange face peering down from the tiny windows of the attic. The figure is often described as having a distorted or unusually large head. When the witnesses blink or try to take a photo, the figure vanishes. This has happened even when the third floor was locked and unoccupied. Investigators often place marbles on the floor of the attic. Many have captured video of these marbles rolling across the floor toward a person, or stopped abruptly and then roll back. What makes this eerie is that the attic floors are notably uneven and slanted due to the building's age. The marbles often roll uphill, defying gravity. Which, that would be freaking cool to see.
Right?
There is a specific room in the attic dedicated to Zeke. Guests and staff leave toys, candies, and trinkets there. It is common for these items to move overnight, or for childlike giggles to be captured on recorders. One famous recording features a voice whispering into a microphone that sounds like it's saying, "Play with me." Witnesses often describe a small figure that peeks around the corners in the attic, only to vanish when the light is shined in that direction. The spirit in the attic is often described as playful, in ways that feels lonely or desperate for attention. Female guests with long hair or people wearing loose clothing report the sensation of a small hand tugging on their hair or the hem of their shirt. People standing in the main attic hallway report seeing a small dark shadow peek around a door frame. When they turn and look directly at it, the shadow zips back behind the door. Which I've seen before. Like where you look, you see a shadow and it just goes so fast. They are so fast.
They're quick.
Mm-hmm. Some visitors report a sudden overwhelming smell of burning wood or old dust, as if a fire had just been extinguished, but there's been no history of a fire in the attic.
Huh.
But it makes me wonder if Zeke was real, if he accidentally started a fire, somehow. Or like, you know how windows, if it gets this direct sunlight on a certain spot, and if there's like a piece of paper
Yep,
or whatever, it can start
on
something.
fire.
Using like a magnifying glass effect.
Right. I wonder if maybe that's a possibility. I don't
Wouldn't
know.
the glass back then have been like that wavy lead?
It would have been lead glass, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now let's get to the more specific paranormal experiences. A professional paranormal photographer was hired to document the mansion's restoration in the 1990s. While setting up a tripod in the long, narrow hallway of the attic, the photographer saw a small, dark figure ducked behind one of the door frames at the far end of the hall. He assumed a child had snuck into the tour group. He called out, "Hey, you shouldn't be up here," and walked toward the room. As he got closer, he saw a small, pale hand with unusually long fingers grip the edge of the door frame, then quickly pull back. When he reached the room and pushed the door open, the room was a dead end. It had no other exits, and no furniture big enough for a child to hide behind. The room was empty, but found a single modern-day marble sitting in the exact center of the floor, perfectly still.
I don't know, that's kind of cool.
In the early 2000s, a group of local teenagers decided to test the Monkey Boy legend by standing on the sidewalk outside and taking photos of the attic windows. Using an old-school Polaroid camera, they snapped several photos of the arched windows at the top of the mansion. In the first two photos, the windows were dark and empty. In the third photo, as it developed, a face began to appear. It wasn't a standard ghostly blur. It was described as a wide, distorted face with large, dark eyes pressed against the glass. The group was so terrified that they ran to the car, and when they showed the photo to the Lemp Mansion historian later, the historian pointed out that the third floor level of the attic where the picture was taken the floor was about 10 to 12 feet below that window. So for a human to have their face pressed against the glass, they would have had to have been levitating or standing on a tall ladder.
Crazy.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be neat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I looked at the area where it's at, and there's kind of like a loft. And so where the picture was taken, it's like way up high where the windows are from the floor. Like there's literally no way anyone could be up there. There's no way.
No, that's wild.
A guest was exploring the attic hallway when she heard a sound that she thought was a kitten trapped in the walls. It was a faint, high-pitched whimpering, and she followed the sound to the door of the toy room, the room dedicated to Zeke. And as she stood in the door, the whimpering turned into a distinct, gasping sob. She whispered, "It's okay." And suddenly the sobbing stopped. A second later, a toy wooden block was thrown from inside the dark room, skidding across the floor and hitting her shoe. She didn't wait to see who threw it. She fled back down the stairs to the crowded dining room. On the second floor, it contains the bedrooms of where William Sr. and Charles took their lives. It is widely considered the most oppressive area of the mansion. In William's room, the most common report is the sound of a man pacing back and forth across the floorboards. It is a rhythmic, heavy tread that sounds like somebody deep in thought or agitation. Guests have reported waking up to find the door to the suite locked from the inside, even if they specifically remember having left it unlocked. Some have even felt the door handle turn or rattle violently, as if someone's trying to get in. On the anniversary of his death, which was the 13th, multiple guests over the years have reported being jolted awake at 10:15 a.m. by a sound of a distinct firecracker or a muffled shot coming from within the walls. That would be wild.
That'd be pretty cool, actually, to experience that.
Well, if we can
To
stay
hear
there,
it.
I guess we know where we're going in February.
Right?
No kidding, gotta be there February 13th.
Heck yeah.
Celebrate my birthday.
There you go.
Woo! This story comes from a former housekeeper who worked at the mansion during its early years as a bed and breakfast. She was cleaning the William Lemp suite, and she stepped out into the hallway to grab fresh linens, leaving the door propped open with a heavy brass doorstop. She heard a metallic slide and watched as the doorstop was kicked out of the way by an unseen force. The heavy door slammed shut, and when she tried the handle, the door was deadbolted from the inside. Since she was the only one on the floor and the room had no other entrance, there was no logical explanation. A manager had to be called with a master key, and when they opened the door, the room was empty, but the rocking chair by the window was rocking back and forth as if someone had just jumped out of it.
Oh, jeez.
Which is interesting, too, because he locked his door
Right.
when he killed himself with the deadbolt. So Charles was the most eccentric Lemp, and his room is said to hold the judgment or angry energy. Several guests have reported the sensation of someone sitting down on the edge of the bed while they are in it. They feel the mattress dip and the covers pull tight, but when they turn on the lamp, the room is empty. People often report feeling watched from the corner of the room. One guest famously claimed to see a tall, gaunt man standing in the corner of the room, dressed in a dark suit, simply staring at them with the expression of pure annoyance. Guests often report a heavy breathing sound coming from underneath the bed, or a feeling of large weight settling onto their feet, similar to a dog lying down at the foot of your bed.
Oh. I mean, it'd be a little trippy, though.
It could be a little unnerving, but I mean, if you understand the story behind it
Yeah.
and you recognize that maybe that's what's happening, I don't think it would be as scary.
No. Well, probably not. I think it'd be interesting, though, because if we were staying in that room, I would think it's one of our cats
That's true.
laying down by our feet. And then you're like, oh, that's so sweet. And you reach down to pet it, and you're like, wait, there's nothing there.
Right? A paranormal investigator stayed there to conduct a solo overnight vigil. Around 2:30 a.m., while lying in the dark with a digital recorder, he felt the atmosphere in the room change. It became thick and hard to breathe. He suddenly felt a massive weight settle onto his chest, as if a grown man were pinning him to the mattress. He described it not as a ghostly touch, but as a physical struggle. At the same time, he heard a low growl, guttural growl, right next to his ear. When he reviewed the audio later, he didn't capture the growl, but he did capture a clear whispered voice that said, "Get out." He left the room and spent the rest of the night sitting in the brightly lit downstairs bar.
Okay, that would be unnerving.
Yeah, which it's interesting because we've talked about this before in other podcasts. But sometimes, and a lot of the times when you audibly hear a voice or a growl or whatever, you do not pick it up on your recorder.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, we had that happen at Asylum 49 where I was standing right next to her with my digital recorder running, and something talked right into her ear, and nothing.
None of our equipment picked it up.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating because I have heard some amazing audible voices, very clear.
Yeah.
And I do not catch it on the recorder. And it is so frustrating because I can't prove it.
Right? It's just on your word, right?
I know. I'm like, if this was an EVP, that would be a Class A.
Right.
Or you, like we had at Waverly, where we had 2 digital recorders on the complete opposite ends of the 4th floor. So 300 feet apart.
Yeah.
Pick up the same EVP as if somebody was yelling out as an audible yell.
Yeah.
But we never heard it.
We're on that floor. We heard nothing.
That's amazing.
Because if you would have been standing there hearing someone, a woman
Scream, help me.
help me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You would react.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we never heard nothing. But upon review, when we got back home, I was sitting there with the headphones on. I'm reviewing the audio, and I hear this. I mean, I'm almost falling asleep because nothing's happening, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, I woke up real quick because coming across that audio was, help me, a woman's frantic scream, help me.
And then when I was reviewing our video footage that we had with us, the camera that we had on us,
Yeah.
it picked it up on that one.
Oh,
Just
man.
fainter.
It was just fainter,
But
but
it was
it was
there.
still clear.
Same woman.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And we were on that 4th floor the whole time.
So on both of the recorders, did it sound as equally loud?
No. So it sounded, so the one that was in the surgical room was like it was near that area, like not
Right,
in
closer.
the room, but, you know, in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
The other one sounded faint and distant, but clear.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, that's so
This stuff makes no sense.
No. No, and it's like, I wish I could freaking hear it so I could respond to it.
Right.
Like, I want to have a conversation, so if I hear somebody that says, help me, what do you need?
Yeah.
I'm right here. What do you
How can I help?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you can't do any of that.
Nope.
No.
And it's probably something that repeats itself, but in case it's not,
You'd like to answer
you'd
it.
like to answer to it.
Exactly.
So although Elsa died at Hortense Place, she is frequently seen in the 2nd floor hallway of her childhood home. A common sighting is a woman in a long, white or light-colored Victorian gown standing in the hallway near the top of the stairs. She is often seen with her hands over her face, appearing to sob. Witnesses say that when they approach her to ask if she's okay, she doesn't walk away. She simply just fades into the woodwork or the wallpaper.
Wow.
That would be terrifying for somebody.
That's so sad too, though.
Oh, it's sad.
I
but
think for somebody that doesn't do it like what we do and is just like visiting or whatever, right? And isn't exactly investigating or doesn't know the history behind it. If they were to experience something like that,
Oh, yeah.
they'd be petrified. I know I would.
Well,
Yeah.
I think even for me, if I were to see something like that on my own, I think it would be scary at first,
Yeah.
you know, because it's not normal, especially if you're not expecting it no matter who you are.
Yep.
If they look solid enough.
Yeah, if they look solid and you're like, oh, what's the matter?
And then they fade away.
They just fade.
I think your body would like go into shock.
I think so.
You
Yeah.
just sit there like, what the heck is just happening?
Well, you know, and like you said, especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you have somebody with you.
Right.
It can still be unnerving. But if you're all alone,
Oh, yeah.
it's a whole different story.
It totally is. I don't care how experienced you are.
That's right.
Well, especially when you think that you're not alone. right? Because you're like, oh, there's somebody here with me.
And then it
they're
fades
not.
away. They
Right?
fade away.
And I'm sure you go through like all the thought processes of like, did that just actually happen? No, I'm pretty sure that happened. Did I just witness somebody fading away? Yeah, I think I did. But was it real? Like, I'm sure you go through like all of it.
And then you're like, well, I did have that half a mug of beer at lunch.
Yeah, but it's 2:00 in the morning. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there, is anybody going to believe me?
Is there a gas leak in here?
A few years ago, a couple checked into the Elsa Lemp suite. In the middle of the night, the husband woke up to see a woman standing at the foot of the bed. She was dressed in an elaborate, high-collared white dress, not ghostly or transparent, but looking solid as a real person. Thinking a staff member or another guest had accidentally wandered into their room, he sat up and asked, "Can I help you?" The woman didn't speak. She slowly raised her hand, pointed toward the door, and then melted into the floorboards. The husband was so shaken that he refused to stay the rest of the night. When he checked out at 3 a.m., the night manager noted that the White Lady is the most common apparition reported in that specific room.
Wow.
Okay, so we're each getting our own room.
She melted. I like how she
you
melted
melted.
into the floorboards.
Yeah, does that mean,
I would
she
be like-
elevator down, or did she gelatiny?
Well, it says melted, so I assume just into a puddle through the floor. But I would be setting up
so
a
Raiders of the
camp
Lost
there.
Ark.
Right.
Or like, I'm melting. Oh, what a world. Well, Lillian Lemp, Billy Jr.'s wife, didn't die here either. Her presence is felt most strongly in the suite that bears her name. Her presence is described as domineering and elegant. And I bet it seems like that's the type of personality that she had. The most famous experience is the sudden overwhelming scent of lavender perfume. It is described as old-fashioned and thick. It often appears in the hallway outside of her room and follows guests back into their own doors. A few guests have claimed that while brushing their teeth or looking in the vanity mirror, they see a woman in a purple-tinted dress standing behind them, and when they turn around, no one is there.
Wow.
See, part of me has always wanted to see that.
When you look in a mirror,
Yes. And then the other 99% of me
it's terrified.
is terrified
That you're
of
going to
that
see
ever
somebody
happening.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever happening.
Yep. That's why I've never understood when people, when they go ghost hunt and they'll stare into the mirror.
No
Little
thanks.
scry.
Yeah, that is like a no-go for me. I don't think that's good.
I don't either. Neither like a water scrying either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
scrying in
don't.
general is usually
Yeah. I won't do that.
yeah.
But if you're like brushing your teeth or
Mhm.
taking a shower or something and you see something in the mirror, that's a totally different experience.
Yes.
Still terrifying.
Horribly terrifying.
Especially if you're in the shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of nope.
That's a whole lot
I don't care
of
who
no,
you
thank
are.
you.
That's a whole lot of nope.
Occupado.
So this experience was reported by a traveler named Sarah, who stayed at the mansion during a cross-country trip. She was a skeptic who chose the room specifically for its lavender aesthetic, not the ghosts. Sarah reported that as soon as she had crossed the threshold into the room, she was hit by a scent so thick it was vicious. It wasn't just lavender. It was lavender mixed with the smell of old face powder and mothballs.
Ew.
Ew.
Right? Ugh.
Instant headache.
Your mothballs are potent.
Well, so can the
So is it.
lavender.
Well, and so can the face powder.
Yep.
I mean, I would put on my grandma's old face powder. It was in this like pink marbly looking container,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a thick top that you pulled off, and then
A big poof.
a big poof with a bowl full of powder, and it is so strong, so strong. So put all those three together.
Nasty.
Ugh, so gross. She checked the room for air fresheners or potpourri but found nothing. While Sarah was at the vanity getting ready for bed, she was looking into the large, ornate Victorian mirror. In her peripheral vision, she saw movement behind her. She saw a woman sitting in the armchair in the corner of the room. The woman was wearing a high-collared, shimmering purple dress with a large hat with a veil. Sarah froze, looking into the mirror. The woman in the chair was looking down at a book or a piece of mail. When Sarah slowly turned her head to look at the chair directly, the chair was empty. When she looked back into the mirror, the woman was still there, but this time she had looked up. She was staring directly at Sarah through the reflection with a look of extreme irritation, as if Sarah were an intruder. Sarah eventually went to sleep, but she didn't stay asleep. At roughly 3 a.m., she felt a sharp physical shove on her shoulder that almost pushed her off the bed. She sat up and shouted, thinking someone had broken in. The room was freezing, so cold she could see her breath. From the corner of the room, she heard a distinct feminine huff of annoyance that sounded like when someone makes when they're losing their patience. Sarah spent the rest of the night with every light in the suite on. I would too.
I think at that point, yes, I would too.
But the funny thing is like we do this, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm safe. And in reality, it means nothing.
Nope. Not a dang thing. It's like whether the lights are on or off,
They're still there.
they're still there.
We just have that overarching fear of things happening in the dark, so we feel way more vulnerable.
Oh, yeah, because you're less likely to see something coming at you
Yeah.
in the dark.
Yeah, but imagine if like you turn the light on and then she's still there.
Yeah.
And then she charges you.
Yeah, that would be just as bad, I think.
Yeah.
Longtime employees at the Lemp Mansion have their own specific Lillian story that they often tell guests. They say, if you leave a mess in Lillian's suite, she'll let you know. Housekeepers have reported finishing her room, making the bed perfectly and smoothing the sheets, only to walk back in 5 minutes to find a perfectly human indentation in the middle of the made bed, as if someone had just been sitting there. Staff have captured EVPs in this room where a woman's voice, sharp and clear, simply says, "Leave it," or "Mine." She's
A little possessive there.
yeah,
Very strong personality.
very type A. No wonder she couldn't handle her husband.
That or he couldn't handle her.
Probably both.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that goes both ways on that one.
Yeah.
So these hauntings are on the first floor. So while the first floor was the public face of the Lemp family, home to the grand dining room, the parlor, and the main offices, it is far from peaceful, because this was the site of Billy Lemp Jr.'s suicide, and where William Sr. spent his final agonizing hours before heading upstairs. The energy here is described as restless and busy. Billy Jr. shot himself in his first floor office, which is now part of the dining area. This is considered the most active spot on this level. Diners often report the feeling of a man standing directly behind them, looking over their shoulder as if checking their work or their meal. Staff have noticed a specific corner where the temperature is constantly 10 to 15 degrees colder than the rest of the room. This is the exact spot where Billy's desk was located and where he pulled the trigger. People standing outside on the sidewalk have reported seeing a man in a dark suit standing at the office window, staring out toward the brewery. When they look back a second later, the room is empty. Now, why is this? Because this happens all the time.
Yeah.
They know.
It's like you see it in your peripheral vision, so when you look, it's gone. Or you see it leave really fast.
Yep.
Like, why is that? Why don't they just stay and look at you? I mean, sometimes they do, but it's rare.
And this is why I'll never catch anything on my peripheral vision.
Right.
Because you don't have it.
I don't have any.
You only see it dead on.
That's right.
But I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting thing. Maybe I wonder if it's not actually our brains that don't handle it. Like, they're still there.
Yeah.
But we can't, like our brains can't fathom what we're seeing, and it just erases it.
And I wonder if it's some type of rule, maybe, in the afterlife, where it's like, don't be seen.
Could be. I don't know.
Is it part of the book of the recently departed?
The recently deceased.
Yes, the recently deceased.
I don't know. I'd have to sit down and actually read it.
I don't know. I kind of wonder if there's like rules or like limitations or...
I'm sure there are some rules.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, like you can't talk about. It's like, you know, Fight Club. You can't talk about it.
Yeah, well, and like that's why I wonder if names are so hard to get.
Could be.
Like, it's literally not that we're trying to hide anything or like come up with a story because we can't get a name. It's like legit, the names are so hard to get.
Right.
And I've gotten EVPs where I've asked for their names and they tell me no. I've had
Really?
multiple. Yeah, I've had multiple ones where I've asked, can you tell me your name? No.
See, I don't think we've ever gotten one where they tell us no. They either just don't say anything.
Yeah, it's usually they don't say.
Usually
anything.
they don't say
I would
anything.
say that's the same for me too.
Mhm.
But I have gotten a few
where they're like, no.
where I will get no.
The only
Like,
time
why?
Yeah, the only time I ever got a no on something is when I when I asked if they could move my flashlight, and they're like, no.
I get a lot of no's.
That's not the only time. When we were at Waverly the first time, you had that little Hot Wheel car. We're up on 5 on the outside part. And you asked the little child spirit if he could move the car. And you hear a little kid say no.
Yeah.
I think you guys would be surprised if you looked back at all of your EVPs how many no's you get.
Yeah.
I really do get a lot of no's.
Yeah, I'm sure we've gotten quite a few.
Oh, I'm sure we have.
over the years.
And some were a little more aggressive than others.
Right?
And some are just plain weird.
Yep.
So let's go to the dining room. The grand dining room is where many guests experience physical hauntings that feel less like spirits and more like energy glitches. Multiple servers have reported setting a table with silverware, turning their back to grab water, and returning to find that the forks and the spoons are flipped over or scattered across the floor. A famous account involves a group of diners who felt their heavy oak table begin to vibrate so intensely that their glasses were dancing. There was no construction or earthquake, and the vibration was localized to just their table.
Weird.
Yeah, like I have been in a bed where the bed vibrates.
Yeah.
And we have talked about other hauntings where beds vibrate or pieces of furniture. Most of the time they're beds. But to have a table where all those people are eating and the glasses are shaking like
Right.
that's surprising.
Yeah, I don't think I've had any vibration stuff. Just knocks on the bottom of a table.
Well, there was one.
Yes.
There was one with taps where I can't remember where they went. Was it the Colorado Hotel?
The Stanley?
The Stanley Hotel?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember, but there was a table that they were at.
Yeah,
And-
lifted.
Yeah, and it shook and then lifted.
Mhm.
That was the Stanley, but it wasn't in the building that we stayed in. It was the other one.
With the auditorium?
The one that was next to the auditorium.
Oh,
So it was like the new building.
right.
That's where that happened.
But it's rare to have like a big table like that. That would take so much energy.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if it's one or if it's like multiple spirits that are trying
Working
to get that
together?
sucker to move.
They're all
Like,
just
all together, everyone! 1, 2, 3, go!
left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Lift with your spectral legs, not your back.
Oh, my sciatica.
You don't have a sciatica!
Oh, yeah.
So here's the next one. It was after hours, and the bartender was wiping down the mahogany bar. He looked into the mirror behind the bottles and saw a man sitting on the far end of the bar. The man was dressed in a dark, heavy wool suit, that looked not of this time. He was staring straight ahead, and his hands were resting on the bar as if holding a glass. The bartender turned around to tell the man the bar was closed, but the stool was empty. He looked back into the mirror, but the man was still there in the reflection, looking directly at the bartender with a look of profound, hollow sadness. He then simply evaporated like mist. So I feel like there is a thing going on here where they look away, they see something in a mirror, look away, it's gone, look back, and now they're looking at them.
Yeah, it seems to be a pattern.
It's a little on there. It's like some of a movie.
Right?
Right? It's like every time you look, they're closer.
A diner named Robert was eating with his family in the section of the dining room that used to be Billy's office. With his back to the window, he felt a sudden violent shove against the back of his chair. It was so hard that his chest hit the edge of the table and his water glass tipped over. He spun around expecting to see a waiter who had tripped or a child playing, but there was nobody behind him. The nearest person was over 10 feet away. Other diners at the next table stared at him in shock. They told him that they didn't see anyone near him, but they saw his heavy oak chair jerk forward as if someone had kicked it with both feet. Robert left his meal unfinished and walked out. That would be so startling.
Yeah.
Literally kick you into the table. I mean, like, most people just feel like a touch or a little push, like pressure. But to have your entire chair do that, that's terrifying.
Did he get his meal comped?
I think at that point, everyone's like, go, dude, go. During a quiet lunch service, a linen napkin was resting on an empty table in the center of the room. The napkin began to rise slowly into the air as if being lifted by the center. It hovered about 6 inches above the table for several seconds, swaying silently. Suddenly, the napkin was snatched sideways with incredible speed and thrown across the room, landing near the fireplace. There were no drafts, no open windows, no fans running. One of the servers who saw it claimed it felt like a temper tantrum from an invisible child or an invisible man.
That'd be kind of cool to see, though.
I was gonna say, I want to see something like that. Like, I have seen probably just a handful of things move, and a few of the times they're only just a little, like, it's just a little slight movement, like an inch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's enough to go, did it move?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And you always question yourself. But, like, I have seen a ball, the little ping pong ball that, like, went in circles and went faster and faster and faster. Like, I've seen that one time. And I feel like that will be the only thing that I ever see moved like that.
Yeah, but what a cool experience.
So freaking cool. A once in a lifetime thing.
I wish we would have seen that ping pong ball move in Thistle.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, after we left the house and we were out talking by the fire, you heard it.
Yep. And I have it on my recorder.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, because you hear it perfectly. Roll all the way across the floor,
Down the stairs.
down a spiral staircase, and then switch directions back the direction that it rolled from and ended up basically right underneath where it started. But
Weird.
right in the center of a pentagram.
Yeah, and we were outside
Yeah.
at a fire.
Yeah, we just heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
Nuts.
Okay, let's go into the parlor. The Lemp family was known for hosting lavish parties, and the music from their nights seemed to have left a residual imprint. Guests in the bar area often hear a single clear note struck on the piano in the nearby parlor. When they go to investigate, the room is empty, and the fall board, which is the lid that goes over the keys, is closed. Late at night, when the mansion is nearly empty, staff have reported hearing a low hum of a cocktail party. The sound of many voices talking at once and clinking of glasses coming from the parlor. As soon as someone enters the room, the sound vanishes instantly. Now, I've heard something like that, where it sounds like a low hum of voices, and then you walk into a room and just stops. But if it's residual, why does it stop?
Great question.
Yeah, good question. I've actually had this happen to me while talking to somebody and them talking straight in my face. And I hear it. People talking, glasses clinking, silverware, like a loaded dining room.
Right.
And that guy did not miss a beat. So he did not hear it.
Really?
But I heard it.
Weird.
That's terrifying.
A pianist hired for a holiday event arrived early to practice. The parlor was empty and the house was quiet. As he walked toward the room, he heard a complex classical melody being played. He stopped to listen, impressed by the skill. However, as he stepped into the doorway, the music stopped instantly. The piano's fallboard was closed and locked. When he sat down to play his own set later that night, he felt a static charge so strong on the keys that the hair on his arms stood up. Throughout his performance, he felt a cold hand rest firmly on his shoulder, as if someone were standing behind him, approving of the music. That's cool.
I'm not sure I could have kept playing.
Right?
Well, it sounds like this person was like pretty open to that stuff. I mean,
You would have to be, if you're sitting there playing.
You have an icy hand on your shoulder.
Yeah, like you're
Right?
just sitting there playing, all of a sudden like this cold hand hits your shoulder and you don't miss a beat and you just keep going.
I mean, you must be used to it at that point because it would throw you a little bit, I would think.
well, and I wonder too if, because, I mean, we've been around spirits that give you the ick vibe, and we've been around spirits that give you the comfort vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it felt like comfort.
Yeah, possible.
More of that vibe than, or if it was like a part of the piece of music where you could feel that kind of like, some people, feel empathy towards something or sadness or happy, or, they have those different feelings when you listen to music. And I wonder if that was a really powerful piece or
Right.
part of the music that had given that to be like, I really enjoy this. I'm going to put my hand on your
Keep
shoulder
going.
and let you know like how cool this is. The guest saw a woman sitting in one of the period-accurate velvet armchairs in the corner of the parlor. The woman was wearing a black Victorian morning dress with a heavy veil over her face. Thinking it was an actress hired by the mansion to add ambiance, the guest walked up to her and said, "Your costume is incredible." The woman didn't move or speak. She slowly raised her veiled head, and the guest realized that she could see the pattern of the wallpaper through her body. The woman then dissolved from the feet up, only leaving the scent of old roses in the air.
Interesting.
Be terrifying.
Well, yeah, especially when you think you're talking to an actual person, then you realize you can see right through them.
Yeah.
A group of 4 people were sitting in the parlor late one night, enjoying a quiet drink after the restaurant had closed. Suddenly, the entire room filled with the sound of clinking glasses and a loud, boisterous "Cheers!" in a thick German accent. It wasn't just a faint sound. It was so loud that they all jumped and spilled their drinks. At the same moment, the heavy crystal chandelier above them began to sway in a perfect circle, despite there being no breeze and no one on the floor above. One member of the group claimed that for a split second, the room flickered, just like a movie frame, and he saw the room filled with people in tuxedos and gowns before it snapped back to the dark, empty parlor of the present day.
Wow.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome. Like a whole party going on.
Yeah, you see the whole scene play out.
That'd be so cool.
That would be amazing,
Step back in time.
right?
It would be trippy though too, because you'd be like, "What did I just see?"
Well, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think after it would register, for me anyways, I would keep wanting to go back to see if it would happen again.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
I'd want to see
Yeah,
it
and
again.
you got to wonder too, because like they were there, kind of not necessarily in a party, right, but in a group of people that were
Just kind of relaxing at the end of the
relaxing
day.
but drinking together.
Right.
So in a similar fashion, they had a group of people there that were drinking together, and they yelled, they were all cheers or
Makes you wonder if it triggers it.
right.
That's what I was
exactly.
thinking too.
Wouldn't that be cool to all go in there and do that kind of as a experiment?
Well, because we use trigger
Cheers.
objects all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't something like that trigger an event?
Right.
Right.
It'd be worth a shot.
A trigger event instead of a trigger object.
Right. That's an interesting take.
Yep. It'd be fun.
Would be.
I'd do it.
We should remember that for future investigations.
Heck yeah.
Especially when we go here.
Oh, now we're adding this one to the list too, huh?
Heck yes, we are.
Sounds great.
You know, depending on how you go to Kentucky, you go right through St. Louis. I'm just saying.
That's very true, actually.
I know. What's crazy is I've been to St. Louis multiple times and didn't even think about this place. Like,
Missed opportunity.
I know. I went and ghosted at other places around there, though. Okay, so let's talk about the hiding child, which is AKA Zeke. So though Zeke is usually associated with the attic, many believe he wandered the house when the family was asleep or away. Guests dining on the first floor have reported seeing a small hand grab their knee or tug on their shoelaces from under the table. When they look down thinking it's a dog or a child, there's nothing there. Housekeepers have reported hearing a child's giggle echoing through the main first floor hallway, often followed by the sound of small bare feet running on the hardwood. That would be wild. I think anytime hearing a child giggle gives you, there's a little creep factor to that.
Actually, I think there's a lot of creep factor. Thanks to like movies and things, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I actually don't believe in child spirits.
Yeah.
I personally believe it would be residual.
It would have to be. Yeah.
If it's not demonic.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, even that, though, even picking up a residual giggle, you know, because you're like, well, there's no children here.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, what in the world was that?
Well, and also sometimes like when you get EVPs and it sounds like either a child or a woman. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's really hard to distinguish between the two.
That's true.
And, I mean, in that same vein, too, like some women were very short. And so if you caught the vision of a very short woman, you could mistake them for a child.
I would say more of a teenager.
Yeah, I think that would be less likely. But yeah.
But I feel like the dress for them was different. Than the,
Oh, it definitely
a
was.
little child. So
style.
that's where it kind of changes for me too. The grand foyer features a massive gold leaf mirror that the Lemps use to check their appearance before greeting guests. A host standing near the front door once reported seeing a reflection in the mirror of a small hunched figure darting across the hallway behind him. The figure was moving on all fours, but with a human-like gait. That's creepy as crud. How does that work?
Right? How does a human-like gait on all fours?
I don't know. Because when you think of gait, you think of their leg stride.
Yeah,
Right.
like that kind of
Upright.
reminds me of Baloo and
Oh, Mowgli.
Mowgli.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Mowgli would walk on
Yeah.
all fours, like that's what I picture in my head with a human-like gait.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know. That's the best I can come up
For
with.
reference, I think that's fitting.
Yeah.
The host turned around instantly, expecting to see a dog that had slipped inside. But the hallway was long, clear stretch of hardwood with nowhere to hide. When he looked back into the mirror, he saw a small, pale face with wide dark eyes peeking from behind the heavy velvet curtains of the parlor. When he walked over to the curtains, they were perfectly still, but the air around them was ice cold. That seems like a whole lot of ick, too. I mean, again, he looks in the mirror, and it's there, looks away, it's gone, looks back, it's still there.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
seems like there's a lot of that goes on at that location.
Right?
With the mirrors. And,
That and the
Yeah, that's very interesting.
in the icy cold spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mirrors I find really kind of interesting because it's multiple reports.
And yeah.
In all different places.
Yep. Throughout that location. So,
But in the same token, though, we talk about how mirrors can potentially absorb energy because of what we're doing with them.
But they
Right.
change.
But in this case, it's the same thing, right? Because like this mirror, they sat and stared at this mirror all the time before they met anybody.
Right.
So you gotta wonder how much energy just gets put into that piece just for that alone.
Yeah. But also it's like the people in the mirror change.
Yes.
They change from doing something on their own to to acknowledging you.
Yeah.
All of them.
So it's like intelligent.
Right.
Not residual.
It's like when they're
Right.
trying to get away with just being there.
Mhm.
And the second time they're like, oh, you found me.
Uh-oh, I've been seen.
Also, still very creepy.
Oh, totally.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
you make eye contact, man, that's a whole different ballgame.
That changes everything.
Everything. A line cook was closing up and had placed a small bowl of fruit on a prep table. He turned to the sink to wash his hands, and when he turned back, a single apple was rolling across the floor toward the basement door. As he went to pick up the apple, he heard a distinct snicker or giggle coming from the darkened hallway. The cook followed the sound and found a small pile of children's wooden blocks, stacked in a neat tower right in the middle of the hallway. No one on the staff had brought toys to work, and the mansion was locked to the public at the time. Yeah, can you imagine staff bringing a thing of blocks?
A box of blocks and setting them up in the hallway.
I mean, I'd totally do that to freak people out.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, we know I would, and so would Jamie.
Well, you get the blocks with the letters on them, and then
Yep.
you can say, get out.
Leave now.
Come downstairs.
Find me if you can.
I see you.
Wanna play?
All things you don't want to see in your blocks, especially when you don't own any.
You know what would be interesting, though, is if we brought, like the magnets, the letter magnets that you put on fridges and stuff for little kids. That might be interesting if we leave like a bunch of them out, if any, and we leave them in a room
Oh, yeah.
to see if somebody would come up with a word, because that would be cool.
We could totally do that.
That would be easy,
Oh, yeah.
too. That's a cheap, easy
And the
trigger
light.
object.
The lightness makes it nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Easy to move.
Yep.
During a crowded weekend brunch, multiple guests reported seeing a small boy with strange features sitting on the bottom steps of the staircase, playing with a piece of string. One guest, thinking the child was lost, approached him and asked, "Where's your mom, honey?" The boy didn't look up, he simply faded into the stairs. While the guest was looking directly at him, the guest was so distressed she had to be seated in the bar to recover. She's probably like, give me a drink.
It-
Take
right
a
now."
couple shots.
In the bar or at the bar?
There's a difference.
The front door gatekeeper. The massive front doors of the mansion are the source of a very specific repeated haunting. Guests have arrived at the front door to see it swing open wide before they even reach for the handle, as if a butler is welcoming them in. However, when they step inside, the foyer is completely empty.
Wow.
A couple arrived for a dinner reservation on a rainy evening, and as they reached the top of the stone steps, before they could even extend a hand toward the heavy brass handle, the massive oak door swung inward with a smooth, deliberate motion, as if a professional butler were standing on the other side. They stepped into the foyer and said thank you, expecting to see the host, but the foyer was completely empty. The nearest staff member was at the podium in the dining room nearly 20 feet away. When they asked the hostess who had opened the door, she replied calmly, "Oh, that happens all the time. He likes to be hospitable when it rains." That would be so cool.
That'd be awesome.
So neat.
A manager closing up the home physically turned the heavy deadbolt on the front door and checked it by pulling the handle. It was secure. Then he went toward the back of the house to turn off the kitchen lights. He heard a loud metallic cluck, the distinct sound of a heavy bolt being opened. He ran back to the foyer to find the front door standing wide open to the street. The deadbolt was still extended in the locked position, but the door was open. To close it, he had to retract the bolt, shut the door, and lock it again. He reported feeling a rushing wind pass him as he stood at the threshold, despite there being no breeze outside.
So it's all the spirits saying, "We're free."
I know.
Running past
Run,
us.
let's go!
Out the door.
I'm late.
A guest left a heavy winter coat on the Victorian hall tree, which is the standing coat rack, near the front door. While standing just a few feet away talking to the host, she watched as her coat was yanked off the hook by an invisible force. The coat just didn't fall. It flew 3 feet across the floor as if someone had grabbed it and thrown it down in a fit. At the same moment, the guest and the host both heard a sharp, clear male voice whisper the word "out" right between them. The guest was so shaken she took her coat and left immediately, skipping her dinner entirely.
That could be unnerving.
Yes.
Audibly hearing that and seeing your coat do that. Like it's almost like the spirits there, they are very upset at everybody tromping through their home.
I mean, I wonder if they just get aggravated because they just want some peace and quiet.
Right.
Or maybe it's they don't like the people.
The person that comes in, you mean? The specific person?
Right. There's something about the specific
Well, then
person
they
that
don't like a lot
like.
of them because
Well, I wonder how many people come in and out of there, though.
I think a lot. And I think what it would, for me, what it would boil down to is I would get irritated with so many people coming and going all the time.
Yeah.
Like it just it would feel like this never ending parade of just strangers in my space.
And your move on the deadbolt would be to lock it and never allow it opened. You'd be like,
Yeah.
You're all out today.
Yeah, I'd probably lock them all out.
I feel like as soon as they
Unlock it, I'd lock it.
Lock it right back.
That's right.
It's like, I guess we don't want to be open today.
Yep.
So let's talk about the caves.
Ooh, yeah.
So the caves beneath the Lemp Mansion are literal and metaphorical foundation of the family's history. This is where the beer was stored, where the secret parties were held, and where the energy feels the most ancient. Unlike the upper floors, where the spirits have names and faces, the hauntings in the caves are often described as shadowy, primal, and physically aggressive. So that's a whole, that's a different vibe than upstairs.
Yeah.
I feel like the upstairs, they're just like, more people? Come on.
Yeah.
You know?
This is getting old.
Mm-hmm. The most common report from the caves is the sighting of a figure known as the Shadow Man. This entity is described as being blacker than the dark. Now we know what that is like.
We know exactly what they mean.
Yep. You think you're in pitch black? You're not. Standing over 6 feet tall and having a solid, human-like silhouette, a tour guide was leading a group through an arched limestone tunnel. Limestone, there you go. As they rounded a corner and the guide's flashlight hit a pillar. A tall, dark figure was seen leaning against the pillar watching the group. When the guide called out, the figure didn't vanish. It stepped behind the pillar. The guide and several guests rushed to the other side of the pillar expecting to catch this trespasser, when there was nowhere for a person to go. The tunnel was a straight shot with no exits, yet the figure was gone. The temperature in that spot was recorded at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, while the rest of the cave was a steady 55.
Yeah, that's quite the difference.
That is way cold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder in this area if it's not native, because the tribes in the area would have used those caves for shelter and living and storage or religious purposes, because it's by the river,
Right.
and so you got to wonder if what's happening in there isn't something similar to that. It's more native. It's more part of the actual indigenous people of that area.
See, I actually had the same thought. I thought that very similarly. And the fact that there's limestone,
amplifies it.
would make it like a giant battery.
Yep.
So Billy Lemp Jr. famously built a theater and a swimming pool in the caves.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh
How
my.
cool is that? And of course it would be Billy that did that. Today, the pool is a concrete pit and the energy there is notoriously heavy. A paranormal investigator was sitting on the edge of the empty pool in total darkness, conducting a solo EVP session. He felt a cold, wet sensation on his ankle. Thinking it was a drip from the ceiling, he reached down to wipe it away. His hand didn't hit his own leg. It hit a cold, clammy hand that was wrapped around his ankle. He felt a sharp tug toward the pit of the pool, and he scrambled back, turned on his light, and saw a red hand-shaped welt on his skin that lasted for over an hour.
Okay, that's frightening.
Nope.
Freaking touching a cold, clammy hand wrapped around your ankle? Oh.
Well, and then you have evidence, at least for an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, that all screams horror movie right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally. Long ago, the caves housed a private bowling alley for the Lemp family and their elite guests. Though the wood and pins are long gone, the sound remains. A maintenance worker was alone in the basement fixing a pipe near the cave entrance. He heard the unmistakable, heavy thud of a bowling ball rolling down the wooden lane. It was followed by the crashing sound of pins being scattered. The sound didn't come from upstairs. It came from the concrete floor right beneath his feet. He reported that the vibration was so strong that he could feel it in his boots. When he investigated the bowling area, he found the air smelt strongly of stale cigar smoke. But the room was empty and silent.
It's the Afterlife Bowling League.
Right? But see, that answers my question, though. The question I had in the beginning. Was there a way into the caves from the house? And that answer is yes, because he was down in the basement near the entrance to the caves.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I didn't
so
even
there
catch
was.
that.
And so there was a way down into the caves from there, which would make sense why they then had a bowling alley and a pool
theater.
and a theater.
Yeah.
Because if you had to go all the way, like, across the street from the brewery and down some weird steps into the cave system that way and come back across, I mean, people would still do it, but it wouldn't be as convenient as,
Right.
you just going downstairs.
Right.
And I wonder if there was some sort of like elevator system when you're taking up a bunch of product
Right.
or something, because those barrels have got to be so heavy.
Well, I would imagine there would be into the brewery.
Right.
So they had to have all sorts of type of...
I bet there was all sorts of tunnels and entrances.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because not only, as that one brewery using it, but other breweries in the area are also using it.
Well, they're not using that cave. There are other caves.
Right, they're using the cave system. And so, I wonder if they're all connected. That'd be kind of neat. Like, it's all sabotage. Like, you run through the caves a couple miles. You're like,
Take a knife, poke a hole in all the kegs.
I'm in Pabst's area.
What I do find what's cool, though, aside from the hauntings, is that those two could be best friends and have competing businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't be friends.
But
Yeah.
at least they weren't so full of themselves that they couldn't.
Well,
True.
And even one of Adam's sons actually worked for
The competitor.
Pabst.
Yeah.
Yeah, worked with Pabst and his brewery, and then came back when he needed to take over. So, I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.
I think the interesting part about that is that Western beer is no longer and Pabst still exists.
Which is interesting, right?
Yep.
That tells you a lot about also who took care of the beer and who was in charge of it during the Prohibition.
Yeah, that and then just the family, making sure that the family actually kept it going.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for sure. A guest on a late night tour reported being separated from the group. She became disoriented in the dark tunnels near the old elevator shaft. Boom, elevator.
But we are answering all sorts of questions that we have right now.
She heard a rough, gravelly voice whispering directly into her ear. "Watch your step, girl." She turned around expecting to see a tour guide, but she was completely alone in the tunnel. Seconds later, when her flashlight beam hit the floor, revealing that she was standing less than a foot away from an unmarked open drop-off into a lower drainage pit. She believes the spirit of an old brewery worker saved her from a serious fall.
That's pretty cool.
That is
pretty cool.
so cool. Because that is like once you think about it, it's not malevolent.
Right.
You know? Like it might be scary in the moment, like, what the heck was that? Turn on your flashlight.
Right.
But then once you process it, you're like, holy crap, that thing just saved my life.
It's like,
Right.
I almost just died.
Yeah. So in the end, the story of the Lemp family isn't just about beer or money or even the gunshots that echoed through those 33 rooms. It's a story about the weight of a name. Edwin, the last survivor of the Lemp children, lived into his 90s. And just before he died in 1970, he ordered his caretaker to build a massive bonfire on the estate grounds. For hours, he fed the flames. He then burned every single Lemp family document, photograph, and business record he possessed. But Edwin forgot one thing. You can burn the paper, you can bury the bodies, but you can't always quiet the house. Today, if you walk past the Lemp Mansion on a quiet St. Louis night, look up at the third floor window. You might see a distorted face looking back at you, a boy who was never written down in the records Edwin burned. Walk through the second floor hallway, and you might catch the scent of lavender or the sound of a heavy, rhythmic pacing. Edwin Lemp tried to erase his family from history, but the spirits of the attic and the shadows of the caves suggest that the Lemps aren't ready to be forgotten. They are still there, trapped in the architecture of their own despair, waiting for someone to listen.
Wow. Cool.
The end.
The end.
Time to go on a road trip.
We say this every time.
I was shocked at how much there was documented at the house.
Yeah.
Because normally it's like, so after all of this amazing history, what do we got? Well, we got some cold spots,
Some footsteps, some
and a lady in
lights. Yep.
There's always a lady in
And
white.
it's
There's
like-
always.
Okay, and what else we got? No, that's it. No first-hand accounts. Can't find any.
That's very true. That
It's
does
like-
happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But not this one.
Nope.
This one was loaded.
It's loaded.
Yeah.
And it also sounds like a bed and breakfast
It is.
or a hotel. So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
It might be expensive, but that's all right. We'll get 4 rooms.
4 rooms.
Yes.
With 3 people?
Yes. 4 rooms, 3 people. So that what we have is we have one room that's the stale room that we just keep cameras on running.
Just in case something happens in there?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Yep.
And then we can switch rooms. So we need
Musical rooms.
Yep.
4 rooms, 4 nights. This cannot be very expensive, people. And then we each just sleep in a different room each night.
No, this is what we do. We just rent out the whole place at this point.
Right?
Yeah, but I
'Cause
don't care
then-
about the other rooms.
Well, you don't care about the
I do.
dining room? Or the parlor?
I do.
Dang it. Okay, so how much do you think it would cost to rent the mansion out?
I mean, the attic,
Right?
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd want to see the whole thing.
It's places like this where I'm like, give me 3 days or 3 nights. I want to experience this place in its entirety, and I want to spend good quality time in every space.
Right.
I want to chase it. I want, if it's going to be silent one night, but good the next, I want to hit that next.
Yeah.
You know?
You
Like,
need time.
it's places like that where I'm like, okay, give me all the things. I want to experience the door opening when I come and walk up to the house.
Right.
Like, I want to experience everything. Something in the mirrors, something, you know?
I want my coat to be thrown off the coat rack.
Right. Well, they did this show. It was like 30 days. It was some, I can't remember the name of the show, but they did 30 days in one location.
Mm-hmm.
30 days, 30 nights.
How cool.
It'd be so awesome. Because then everything becomes normal. Like, this is what we do. We talk to the spirits. They know who we are. They've seen us around.
Yep.
Like, there becomes familiarity. And that does help.
It does. Surprisingly, it does.
Yeah, it truly does. Yeah.
And so it'd be interesting to see, like, you know, if you could do 30 days, like how much you get day 1 versus day 30, and then does the temperament change over that time?
I would say yes, because in places that we have investigated, I feel like the more times we investigate a place, the nicer it becomes.
Yeah.
Not for every piece of evidence.
No.
Because sometimes there is some ones that seem more upset than others. But for the most part, in general, I would say it gets nicer. Like, less irritated.
Right. They're like, these guys again.
Yeah, Waverly wasn't like that.
Nope.
The second time we got there, it got dark.
Well, that's the thing, though, is you guys, it's not like you're going a few times a year.
Yeah.
For them to like recognize you and to get familiar with you. If you're going once every how many years?
Few years, yeah.
Then I don't see how that would be really hard with as many people that go through Waverly
Exactly.
or a place in general to be able to be familiar.
Yeah.
But if you go like
somewhere local,
like Benson Gristmill,
Yep.
we throw that out all the time because we've been there a bazillion times, and me 10 times more than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, when I go, it's always like, oh, there she is. Do you remember me? Yes. I mean, like, it is
Do you want to go away now? Thank you.
very, very familiar. And I know when I go into certain places there that they will answer. And in other places, they will not. And they're still stubborn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stuck in their ways,
Yep.
just like humans,
Yeah.
the living.
That's why I wish, like, can I just live over, say, Ohio? Can I just live there for like 6 months and just investigate all the places a few times?
There's a lot.
There's so many out there.
Well, there's a lot here too. I think the issue we have here is accessibility.
Right?
Oh.
There's not as many people who are willing to open up to investigations here.
They're not, and some of them, it's a case. I mean, it's a double-edged piece, right? Some people are just, nope, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're not discussing this with you. And then the other side of it is, we used to let people do this
Until.
and now nobody's allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because people were being abusive, and we're not putting up with it.
That's
Yep.
right. And I don't blame them.
No, I don't
I
either.
hate the fact that, one group can go in there and ruin it for everybody else. But I also don't blame the people for saying, okay, we're done. We're not letting people in anymore.
Yeah.
So
everybody, let us know. Would you go to Lemp Mansion? Would you stay there? Would you go investigate in the caves and maybe fake swim in the pool in the basement? Let us know. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps. Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.